and so that we can scale up. So we're here again. I know maybe others are tuning in from outside of the country. I'm not sure, but everyone is welcome. I am Tembela Msibi. I hope we're all well and ready to suck in some knowledge today. We'll be speaking on pitching, investor pitch deck. That is the topic for today, and we have such amazing guests that are going to be joining us today. I hope you have your notepad and your pen ready. So I also do want to mention that this is not the first webinar we're having on startups. Prince, mind muting your mic? Thank you in advance. Okay, so this is not the first startup. If you missed the previous webinar, we're speaking about funding our startups, funding our businesses. We spoke about equity funding, and then we spoke about debt funding. So if you are you need to catch up, you can go over to Pinaco Co's YouTube channel and learn more and be updated about that one. So before we continue, I'm going to call up Ian to make a few remarks and then introduce our guests for today. Because, are you there?
All right, thank you so much, and I appreciate the opportunity that we have had once again for us to join this webinar. It's been a journey that has taken almost 2 years, our partnership with GoGetta, and we are seeing the traction that we wanted to achieve. Maybe I would start by introducing myself. My name is Lwazi Ian Dlamini. I am the founder and senior partner at Pinaco Co, a company that is committed to connecting our Eswatini startups to investors. And we are currently working on a product that we are going to be unveiling in a couple of months, that is going to be a platform that helps us achieve our goal. So I'll just go straight to the purposes of this webinar, and then also introduce our guests whom I've known for quite a while. So the objectives of this webinar first is to explain what an investor pitch deck is and why it is important in raising capital. We also want to help our startups in Eswatini to create an investor-ready pitch deck. Sorry about the spelling there, but we want to make sure that we've got investor-ready pitch deck so that as the opportunities avail themselves, we are ready to pitch. And then the third one, it's also appreciating our partnership with GoGetta as a scout and how it would benefit Eswatini startups. So here, I just want to mention that we do have an opportunity as a Maswati to raise funding. I think Stembiso in his presentation, he will just give us an overview of what GoGetta is and how we can be able to raise funding on the GoGetta platform, and how Pinaco Co as well is able to facilitate that. And as I've said, the last one is understanding the crowdfunding platform and how they can help us as Maswati to raise capital. I think those are the 4 objectives why we had this webinar. And just to introduce our guest, is that he's one of the young Africans that is really making waves in South Africa and also the rest of Africa for finding a niche in solving some of the problems that we have in Africa, and that is access to funding. So Stembiso Zwane, his surname does appear like he's Swazi. I'm not quite sure. You know, one day he will tell us the story of how he then went to South Africa, because we believe that he's Swazi whilst he's in South Africa, but we believe that, you know, he has an identity for Eswatini. And without a waste of time, I'm going to just ask him to introduce himself and what he is bringing us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lazi. Thank you for that. Good afternoon to everyone. I'm not sure if you guys can see me because I can't see myself. But yeah, so where am I? I'm Eswatini. I'm the co-founder and director of GoGetta, which is an equity-based crowdfunding platform for African businesses. And ideally, what we've done, and maybe let me just talk about what we've been trying to achieve and what this journey entails before I start talking about the order of the day. So my journey actually started in, let's call it 2016, 2017, where I started a company called Provest as an investment analyst. And what we used to do, or what I used to do, what I was responsible for then was structuring of tax efficient investment vehicles, and also just bringing to the fore investment opportunities that are sound, to the retail market. So what we would have to do then is you would as entrepreneurs around the room, you would come, you'd put together your pitch, and we would vet it, and then we would send it out to our investment committee, and where we would call it make money is through really setting up these venture capital companies and building these businesses to scale. And now we've started actually exiting some of these companies, which is getting exciting. I mean, it's been 7 to 8 years now of consistent investment, fighting with entrepreneurs, holding their hand, taking them through the journey. And I think it's important for me to actually just give you some background because of what it is that I'm trying to talk about today. With that being said, we then, this piece of legislation came to an end. It was called Section 12J in South Africa, and it was really a piece of legislation that would allow individuals to invest in startups in South Africa, and they could claim the tax from the investment. So they could claim the full tax from the investment, as long as they remain shareholders in those companies for a minimum of 5 years. Okay. So we had this product when I joined the company. We had about, let's call it, it was about 100 million of assets under administration and management at the time. And when I left, and I'm using the word left loosely, very loosely today, because they still play a very big role and an integral role in how we do business today. So when I left in June 2021, the piece of legislation came to an end. We had assets under administration of about 3.5 billion, of which 1.6 billion, or anything between 1.6 to 1.9 was what we had under management. And mind you, this is money that we've raised from high net worth individuals, businesses, and people like you and I. So if someone made a killing of maybe sold a couple of cows and said, let me go and invest a couple of 100,000 rands in these businesses to save on tax, we've been making the returns. So with that, apologies. So with that, we sat around the room when this piece of legislation was coming to an end in 2021. And we started asking ourselves, what can we do to take this further, So for me, I've had an undying love for growing and scaling businesses, especially for Africa, not just South African businesses, but also with an African focus. And, we sat down and I had a light bulb moment. I went to the board and I said, guys, listen, I understand that this piece of legislation is coming to an end, but I think we have a strong product here. And it's unfortunate that this product that we have is only for South Africa. We should be looking further beyond the borders of South Africa and looking at the borders of Africa. Yes, I'm young and we're looking to grow businesses in South Africa, scale them. Let's get the right people on board to get these businesses to where they need to be at the time they need to, and just hold the hand of the entrepreneur through this whole journey. So with that, the light bulb moment came, and we said, let's start a business called GoGetta. So GoGetta is an equity-based crowdfunding platform, which means that we would raise money from individuals such as me and you to invest. Kahle kahle istokfela, basically. And I'm sorry, guys, I'm going to go into vernac and then I'm going to come back. Personality, yami ngumuntu onjalo. So if you don't understand, please just put the questions in the chat. And also, I want this to be an open conversation between yourselves and myself. It's a learning opportunity, and it's not something that you should just be writing notes the whole time. If you have questions, let's engage. I think it's easier to learn once we engage than it is for me to just speak for a full hour. So with that, we said, okay, let's build a product. Let's put a product together for African entrepreneurs. And the board said, actually, that's a great idea. Let's do it. Let's start a business for Africa, by Africans, and for young Africans as well, with no specific focus on a single sector. So the only things that we wouldn't touch in the investment space is sex, gambling, and ammunition. And that's because it's reputational risk, it's sin businesses, those are not things that are easy to market in different countries, because also we understand that there are political issues, there are religious issues that come into play with the sin businesses, with the different sin businesses, and we wouldn't want to dabble in those things. So I've told you about how it started. It hasn't been an easy journey as a young entrepreneur. Co-founded the business. I've got two other founders, Liat, who is now stepped down as a director, and she's a shareholder, but still provides strategic direction for us going forward. And then I've got Jeff Miller, who's the CEO of GrowVest, which is our, call it, administrative manager. So the two of them have branched out into their own businesses, and I'm the one who's really concentrating on running this business. So over the last 3 years, we actually launched in August 2021. We launched officially in August 2022. And I'm just going to give you a background of the journey throughout. We launched officially in August 2022. By November, December 2022, we had raised, call it, close to $600,000 US dollars for 3 businesses within the portfolio of companies that we have. One being macadamia farm in KZN, and then another one being a loan, call it, facility or purchase order financing, crowdfunding platform actually in Cape Town, and then a manufacturing plant out in Roodepoort, South Africa, in Johannesburg. So those businesses have been doing quite well, actually, which is quite, it's refreshing. It's refreshing that these businesses have been doing quite well for us. And through that, we've actually understood that we've had to change the model quite a few times throughout this journey that we've taken, so that it can fit the needs of our target market. So our target markets are not people who are 75 and above, but it's actually anyone between 18 and, call it, 45, because those are the people who have some spare cash. We wanted to create a product that, call it, the person who gets their first job, uyakwazi investor, instead of putting all their money in a unit trust or taking their money and putting it in a collective investment scheme, you can do that to feel safe with your investments, fixed deposits accounts and all that kind of stuff. That's okay. But we're saying, why not have the same opportunity? So call it the USP, or the unique selling product of GoGetta, is that we are giving individuals the same opportunities that the banks will get. We are the guys who put these portfolios together for your unit trust. for your collective investment schemes, for these pension funds that are coming in. We are the guys who are building these projects for them to invest in. So yes, your money is there, but you have the same, and venture capital companies and private equity businesses, but you have the same opportunity to invest alongside those high net worth individuals, the PE funds, the venture capital businesses. We're giving you the same opportunity. You invest on the same terms as those guys. Your terms are no different to theirs. And I think that's what had sparked the interest for me, was to say we get so many brilliant businesses from a venture capital point of view. We've invested in some good businesses. We've invested in some businesses that just went pear-shaped because of COVID, or whatever the case may be. But we had that opportunity. These businesses come to us, but I can't put my own cash in there because I don't have $1 million to put in there. But 1,000 Rand makes a difference. $50 makes a difference. So we are saying, let's come together for investing into African businesses, and let's do it together. Let's grow African businesses together. Let's support these businesses in our communities. Let's do it together, because it's the spirit of Ubuntu, which it remains the same throughout Africa. It's the same concept, it's the same principles that all Africans apply to their personal lives. Why can't we do it for business as well? We have created a platform that allows you to invest on the same terms as these guys, and allows you as entrepreneurs today to receive money from ourselves, or from a VC. We'll co-invest with a VC, we'll co-invest with a family office, we'll co-invest with a high net worth individual. So the opportunities are there. So why aren't we doing it together? And it's very important for me to maybe just draw your attention to criteria. And guys, please just feel free to put up your hand or to ask some questions in the chat if there are things that you don't understand. I don't want to just keep speaking. This is a safe space, and all questions are welcome. So with that, I just need you, so I'll talk to you about the criteria that is involved with us when it comes to entrepreneurs wanting to get involved on the GoGetta platform, and what that entails. So the funding process is not it's not a tedious process that we follow. It's a simple process. You go onto the platform, and you'll go onto the platform and you will submit your pitch deck. So if you don't have a pitch deck, actually, which is why we're here. So a pitch deck really is it's a presentation of who you are, what your business does, what you plan to achieve, and gives the investor confidence, or let me rather say, it gives the investor, it's your first knock on the door. It's your foot in the door. So it's a very important document to have when you are seeking potential investment into your businesses. So with that, our process is that you'll go onto our website, which is www.gogetta.africa, GOGETTA.africa. And I will put it in the chat for you guys to go and visit the website, just have a look. There's some exciting businesses that we're actually going to list over the next couple of weeks. So the criteria really for entrepreneurs to access funding on our platform is, number one, they need to go onto a website and they will have to submit a pitch deck. And then the team will go and say, okay, yes, we like your business. It'll go to an investment, call it analyst. They'll say, yes, we like your business. And then you will say, okay, cool. They'll contact you, and then they'll ask you for a first meeting. And in that meeting is when you will have to actually be very well prepped. Guys, I can't stop stressing how important it is for you to be well prepped. Know your business, know the ins and outs of your business, know the markets, know what you are doing in your company. It's yours at the end of the day, So the same way you know your body, the same way you know your hands and your feet, that's how you must know your business. Live, eat, breathe, sleep your business. So because there are questions that will come about, and you have to have answers for those questions. If it's things that you haven't come across before, then there's guidance that will be provided for you to that extent. So you'll come onto the platform, you'll go and you submit your pitch deck. Once you've submitted your pitch deck, then the due diligence process starts. So this is a very, very rigorous process. There are documents that need to be put in place that the business needs to submit for us to be able to have a look and to understand what the business does, where it's going, how it's going to get there, and can we actually help you, as entrepreneurs? Can we help you get to the next level? Because it's all about growing imali. If we're being blunt about it, we need to grow the portfolio, but also grow the also grow how you think and how you actually conduct business as an entrepreneur. We need more sophisticated entrepreneurs in Africa. We are leaving home, and we are making solutions for the rest of Europe and the US and Asia, and we come back here to spend money, which is not, we're not growing the African economy, and we're all about growing the African economy. So the criteria is that really what we like is two entrepreneurs, a minimum of two in a business. We have to have a founder and a co-founder. That helps you become accountable for your actions, because more where there's a sense of entitlement or sentiment that is attached to the business, which is, it's very hard to work with lone rangers unless they've run a business before, or unless they have a strong management team or a strong board that is able to hold them accountable. So, and I'm just going to be jumping through between a lot of things here, but during that due diligence process, it's basically an interview for these companies, to pitch to us and say, okay, what kind of individual are you? What kind of person are you? Can we do business together? We are so the turnaround times, and thanks, Wax, for asking the first question. What are the turnaround times from the day of pitch to possible funding? So like I'm explaining now, so the due diligence process will take about 3 weeks from the date of which, from the last day you send us the last document that we require from you. So you can count 3 weeks. So that process entails you send your pitch deck, they say yes, then you have your meeting, we'll say yes or no after that meeting. If it's a yes, then we'll request an NDA with the entrepreneur, and then we'll sign the NDA, you'll share us your data room. Then after the data room, we will then go and say, okay, fine, this is missing, please can you help us with this? Which I'll be going through when I'm explaining the pitch deck. So once that has been sorted, the investment team will then consolidate the information and present it to an investment committee. So investment committee happens twice a month currently. So it's 3 weeks from the day you give us. So if your timing is great, then you might sit in the right month. If not, then you might sit the following month. So once the investment committee has said yes, then we will sign a fundraiser agreement. Thereafter, we will list you on the platform. So there's a marketing pack that comes together and all that kind of stuff. Once we've listed you on the platform, then it's 3 months. So there's a 3-month window. If you raise the money in 1 week, then we can deploy in 1 week. If you raise the money over 3 months, then we'll deploy in the 3rd month, or the 4th month, sorry, the day after the closing date. So we'll clean up the CPs, and then we'll deploy the money, and then the subscription agreements and whatever other agreements that we need to do. So to answer your question, it's 3 months from date of listing. So once you've been listed on the platform, we anticipate to deploy the money for a successfully raised campaign in over a 3-month period. Okay, so our minimum investment amount is 1.5 million rands, which is up to 10 million rand per company and per campaign. If it oversubscribes, then we would come back to the entrepreneur and say, hey, Lalela, people are liking your business. They want to buy more shares. Are you happy to dilute, or are you happy to oversubscribe? Come back, you say yes, or you say no, and then we move on. So to answer your question, it'll take us 3 months. The money is raised over a 3-month period, 4 months at most. If not, then we would say, sorry, the campaign has failed, and unfortunately, we could not raise the money through the platform for your business. So yeah, maybe let me just talk to you about our traction. So I have spoken to you about our traction. We've recently just closed a funding round with the USAID mobilizing investment for Southern Africa, investment arm. So they've given us some money to actually grow the startup ecosystem in the Southern African region, you know. So if they are sitting Peshaya and they are looking into Africa and saying, hey, here's some money, go and grow this ecosystem. They are believing in what Pinaco Co and GoGetta want to achieve for yourselves as entrepreneurs, you know. And I think it was very important for me to say, namhlanje ukuthi I want to be a part of this. Yes, it's voting day in South Africa, sengivotile, but I would really appreciate the opportunity to come and speak to you guys about what goes into a pitch deck. You know, that process took us about 6 months, but here we are. You know, so we've successfully raised the money, and now I'm going to talk to you about some tips. I'm going to give you some tips on really what should be going into your pitch deck, what it should look like, and how you should be positioning izinto zakho, you know. But before that, let me just hear. This is Banbani. Would like to know if the funding is paid back to you once profit is made. So thanks, Banbani, for Bantawana. Oh, thanks, guys. So maybe just to help you understand, our funding model is an equity funding model. So we buy shares in your business. So there's no real payback period. But what in the seeding IoT, you know, what we need from the businesses that we invested is that they must return the money after 5 years. So if you're making a profit in year 1 and year 2, that's fine. Use that money again to go and reinvest in the business so it can grow. You know, so in year 5, we would look to actually, for you as an entrepreneur, to buy back the shares from us at a premium. So because the business has grown and we understand that what the business is like and where we are. So you would buy back your shares. Alternatively, we can go and then sell them to a third party. So but in year 3 to 4, we start looking for exit opportunities in these businesses. Okay, so we start saying, okay, as in how are we going to return the money back to our investors? Let's go find a buyer for this company. So, and then it's up to you as well as an entrepreneur. Do you want to buy back the shares, or do you want to sell your company? Or do you want to have a new shareholder who is strategic, who's going to help you maybe scale into the rest of Africa or even globally? You know, so those are the strategic decisions we make from year 3 onwards. But by year 5, we would want to say, Siyabonga, thank you, but you can take your shares back, and we would like to exit the company. We are not here to run your business. We are here to support you as entrepreneurs and to help you build and scale your company to grow as well, and also to make money. That's very important. We're all here to make money. You know, if you're starting a business not to make money, then I got to support you in the wrong place. So yeah, I'm going to give you a couple of tips today around what should be going into a pitch deck. Guys, I don't want to do a presentation to share my screen. I can if everyone wants me to, maybe just to give you an overview. So, and maybe let me just share my screen so that we are all on the same page. Okay, share screen. Good. And let's do this. Where's this thing? Why can't see? Slideshow. So number one is you have to have a cover slide. Okay, so let's start with what is a pitch deck, which I had said earlier, but I saw some new people coming in. So maybe let me just go back. Pitch deck really is your foot in the door. It's a presentation which allows you to actually speak to the or potential investor about what your business is. One of the biggest mistakes that people make is that they are not clear around what the business does. And I think it's very important for you for us to understand that you have to keep it short and sweet, but it has to be clear and concise. I think that's the first note that I would want you guys to write down. Short and sweet, clear and concise. So on the first slide, you'd have your company name, of course. So as you can see, we've got the logo in the bottom right corner, and then the introduction. So in the introduction, you'll say, okay, hi, this is GoGetta. You put your vision and your mission on your cover slide, and the company name, of course, and then you say who is doing the presentation today. So presented by Eswatini. And guys, please again feel free to ask questions while we're going through this. This is a learning opportunity for all of us. So the cover slide is the introduction. Who's the company? What do you do? And why are we here? Okay, so then we go to the second slide. So the second slide is going to be around what is the problem. So you've identified a problem. The reason why you started a business is because you've identified a problem that needs to be addressed either in your community, in your countries, or it's something that needs to be addressed going forward. So identify the problem. What is the problem that you're addressing? And then why is now the right time? Why are you doing this today? And why couldn't you do it yesterday? Or why can't you do it tomorrow? So with that, you have to have real world evidence. There has to be evidence around, okay, this is the actual problem that persists. Is it a communal problem? Does it only take place in the community? Or is it something that takes place on a national scale, or is it something that takes place on a global scale? So, and what opportunities are there for you to get out of the community to national, from national to global, or international rather? So is there an opportunity to grow that business to that extent? And is this the right time for you to start business? And why is it the right time? So that's your second slide. So if there are questions, again, guys, please just put them in the chat or put your hand up. I would love to speak to some of you as well while we're going through this. So what is the problem? Why is now the right time? Is it really the most opportune time for you to start this business? Or should you be waiting another 6 months? Is the political unrest or not? All those kinds of things. And maybe let me just tell you a story with that. So funny enough, my co-founder, he told me a story at I'm at ATMs. Okay, so he used to run a handbags business when I was a very, very young man. I don't even think I was a young man. I was a little boy at that time. And he used to run a handbags business. But so he made some money off the handbags business. He listed on the JSE and he exited. So he went to China and he identified an ATM. And being a big ATM in South Africa at the time. He was 6 months early. He was still, let's call it 6 to 8 months early. He identified the problem. People told him, no, we can't do that. You can't do that. We fast forward 12 months. All the banks are now bringing ATMs into the countries, and it's something that now we can't live without if we want cash. So for him, the problem was we need cash, You can't always go stand in the line to go to the bank. But the timing was wrong, you know. If he had waited another 6 months to pitch to his potential investors, he may have had that opportunity, you know. So timing is also very important. But again, short, sweet, clear, and concise. Also, what is very, very important is that your pitch deck needs to be visually appealing. Choose the colors that you have in your pitch deck very wisely. You know, don't just use black and white and think, you know, black and white is when you see black and white, you think of contracts because those are black and white. You know, give us some color, something to be excited about, some pictures, you know, make it lively. So then your solution is the third slide. So, and again, I just want to draw your attention to the fact that your pitch deck shouldn't be more than 15 slides. So you have a cover slide where it's your introduction, who you are, and then you have your closing slide as well at the end. So 1, 15 max. So the other, let's call it 13 slides is where the real information should be, but short, sweet, and concise. Visually appealing also is very important. You know? So how is your company going to solve the problem that you have put through to ourselves as your potential investors? I'm seeing a question here in the group. Good day. Can I make a pitch deck for business and it's focused on? Yes. So as GoGetta, we are, and maybe I'm just deviating a bit, but we are sector agnostic, which means that we don't discriminate against sectors. So this also, guys, it's important to say this presentation that I'm doing is available on our website. It's free. So, and it's fully editable. So you can just log on, go onto the website, you sign up, you go and say start a campaign, and you will have access to this information. You can download it and you can populate. Change the colors, of course, because it's your business, it's not mine, you know, and you can use it for any other, let's call it any other reason that you may want to, or any other investor that you may want to approach. Okay, so again, third slide is what is the solution? So how is your company that you are building now going to solve this problem that you have identified? You identified a problem, whether it be communal, national, international. How are you going to solve that problem? Tell us. You know, you don't have to give us all the detail. The detail only comes in the business plan. Here you just say, okay, we are going to solve this problem through empowering X, and let's use farming, you know, as an example. There's food scarcity, or okay, so or local farmers are not don't have the ability to sell to USPA or to the local grocery stores. Why? Okay, so how are you going? Maybe you want to build a product that says, okay, fine, let's find a marketplace for where we can link the grocery store to the local farmer. How are you going to solve the problem? You're building a product which is going to solve that problem. Correct. So once you've solved that problem, or once you've said, okay, this is the product that we are building to solve this problem and to empower the people within our community or nationally to be able to sell their products cross-border or to the local community. So solution very, very, very short and simple around how we're going to do that. So now give us an overview of the product, and where you can include pictures. If you can include pictures of a product that you are selling, you know, if you don't have pictures of, if you're selling a service, then give us a 30-second or 1-minute video, you know, just have a link, click on the link to view the video, insert the link, embed the link into the presentation, and you'll say, guys, here's the link, please click on the link. It's always nice to hear the entrepreneur speak as well, you know, because sometimes you look at these things and you're like, yo, okay, I don't really understand it. But if you're talking to me, I can also say, oh, this is what they meant. It gives me more, so it gives me more motivation to actually go and say, actually, this is quite a nice product. I like this video. You know, put some videos in there, put some pictures in there of the product that you're trying to sell. Again, remember I said visual and appeal, very important. You know, give me some color. Don't give me a black and white document. Give me something that I can work with. I always want to see that, because and your product overview, again, short and sweet. You don't need to say, I know we developed the product in 2001, and then in 2002, this happened. You'll do that later. We'll talk about that in the business plan. We don't have to have it here. Give us an overview of the product that you have, or the service that you are conducting, that is going to solve that problem that we had at Berlin. Remember, we started with the cover, then we had the problem, we had the solution. Now, give us the product overview. Detailed overview, put a video in there, make it special, you know? And what is the market opportunity, you know? So again, now this is the fourth or fifth slide. You can use those interchangeably, the product overview and the market opportunity. You can move them around if you want to, but one must follow the other at all times. So under your market opportunity, identify, you know, how many people or how many lives are you going to touch with this product? You know, you need to identify who is your customer and how big is that customer base. So when we're talking about, and understand, you have to also understand, take it upon yourselves as entrepreneurs to understand what the lingo is in the industry in which you're trying to go and raise money. So when we're talking about TAM, which is total addressable market, you know, what is the total addressable market? Are you only building a product that is going to service a community of 10,000? Are you building a product that's going to service a population of 10 million? Or are you building a product that is going to service a population of 200 million, you know? And then of that, so the total market size and who's your ideal customer, you'll now know, okay, if there are 10 million people, of those 10 million, how many of those are actually serviceable? People who have the ability to purchase your product, right? So of that, you say, okay, maybe of the 10 million, 5 million or 3 million are able to use my product of that 10 million. Now, the call it the cream on the top is, now you have to ask yourself, what is my serviceable, obtainable market? So now you went from 10 million, you've identified, we'll say about 10 million, and you've said, okay, of the 10 million, I can bring it back down to, let's call it 3 million. Those are the people who can actually use my product. And from that 3 million, in the next 5 years, how many of those can I realistically go and touch? You know, which of those can I go and capture? It might be 100,000, you know? So if it's 100,000, then you work on 100,000. So you must know that over the next 5 years, you need to work at getting to 100,000 people who are going to purchase your products. Then now we have a realistic picture that, is there really an opportunity to use this product? Because we went from 10 million to 3 million to 100,000. So it's total addressable market, total, and then it's serviceable addressable market. So which of the markets can you service? And then it's serviceable obtainable market. So SOM. So it's TAM, SAM, and SOM. So, and this is very important, guys. I don't want you to if I'm saying something that you're not understanding, please stop me, because we really need to understand this, is that and we need to be realistic with each other. It's okay, there's 10 million, but I can only reach 100,000 over 5 years. Now, what is my plan? What is my plan? How am I going to make money? You know, so what is the business model? And the business model needs to say, okay, how are you going to generate revenue? Again, guys, don't forget, these points have to be clear and simple, because less is more in this situation. I don't want to sit for 10 minutes to read a pitch deck. I've lost interest. You know, I need to be there and say, okay, fine. It's here, it's in front of me, and 5 minutes and I'm done. 5 minutes, I know it's okay. Am I setting up the meeting or not? You have all my attention or you don't, you know? So, yeah. So what is the business model? How do you make money? It's very important. How are you going to price your product? Who is going to supply you with the product? What is your traction? So is there traction? Have you actually identified anyone, you know, which is the next side. Expand on your existing sales to support your business model. So how many people have you sold to maybe in the last 6 months? How many people like your product? How many people don't? Why do they like your product? Why don't they like it? You know, what are the milestones that you've achieved? And what are the metrics that you've put in place? And who are the partners that you've made along this journey to actually endorse your product, you know? So those are very, 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 very important points to understand. Then we move into competitor analysis, okay? So for competitor analysis, you must know, it's okay, fine. If you're opening a bottle store, a Lokshi, the chances are that there are 15 other bottle stores at Lokshi. Why? What makes your bottle store different? Is it your pricing? Is it your service delivery? Do you have a bigger range or wider range? What makes it a product that is better than your competitors? And also, guys, please include a link to your competitors' pages so they understand. Are they really your competitors directly or are they competitors indirectly? You know, because then we have an overview. Okay, fine. There's Unilever, there's Procter & Gamble, there's Pioneer Foods, there's Tiger Brands. They all sell the same things, all very similar products, but one is cheaper than the other because they have different brands, you know, or is ShopRite, Checkers, and Pick and Pay, you know, so or Boxer, you know, so those are very, and include all the pertinent information. So, and then what makes your product stand out? Because, I think you must put that in bold. You have to put it under, you have your competitor analysis, and then you say, what makes your product stand out? Also, what's very important and that we haven't seen lately is a trend analysis. So a trend analysis is really saying, what are the trends in the current market when it comes to this product that you're willing to sell, that you're looking to sell? If you're selling chickens, what is the trend? Is it becoming more expensive to import chickens from Brazil? Why aren't you buying chickens locally? You know, so those are also very, very important points. And use live examples. Say, okay, our sales have gone up or they've gone down. This is the right time to come in. What is the trend? So that we have an overview of where you're sitting and how you're sitting. And then this is the most important thing on your whole pitch deck. Who is the team? Can't stress enough about introducing your team and understanding that are these the right people to address the problem that you had stated earlier? Are they the right people? And be realistic, guys. Don't be afraid to fire these guys. You know, if they're not the right people for the job, then go and find the right talent, because the right talent is going to get you to where you need to be. Without the right talent, your business is going to go under. So, and you will be stressed as the entrepreneur. So get the right talents on board, have the right team, and make sure that the driver of the bus or the driver of the vehicle is the right driver, you know, because without the correct driver, we will not get to our destination. Okay, now, what is your investment? So now you have to tell us, okay, what are you asking for? How much do you want to raise? What are you going to use that money for? How long? What's the plan? How do I get out? Mangiti, I want to put some money into your business. What is your plan to get me out? Are you going to buy it back? Do you have a certain amount of equity that's used? Okay, you're saying there are shares of X that Ustembiso wants to buy in my company, or I can give him, let's call it 10% for 5 million. Is your business really worth 50 million, or is it worth 20 million? You know, and you have to be realistic with yourselves. Also, you have to, one thing that's also very, very, very important is when you enter these transactions, whether it be for debt or for equity, and know how much you are willing to let go of, but you must be open to negotiating the price, because some of the deals actually only fall apart because the entrepreneur is too sentimental, or the investor may be too greedy and wants to just take up the full amount, you know. So understand how much you need to get to your serviceable, obtainable market, your SOM. Remember I said earlier, what's the market opportunity? So how much do you need to get there over the next 5 years? And so that you can concentrate on running your business. Don't concentrate on raising capital into eternity. Now you have raised, you have an opportunity. You need to get to 100,000 people that you need over the next 5 years. Do you need 5 million or do you need 10 million? And be realistic, you know. This is not about you getting a salary. Tell us, how are you going to use the money? You know, are you going to buy machines, or are you looking to hire more staff? Don't think because you are the CEO now you must get paid 150,000 a month. Forget it. You know, forget it. We are in the business of growing small business to get it to where it needs to be. And that is very, very, very important for everyone to understand on this call. Okay, so I think I've stressed that enough. So what is your ask? What is the percentage? And what are the potential returns that you are looking to give me over the period? You must be comfortable with what you are saying, and you must be confident in your product. Please. Comfortability and confidence. Very, very, very also important. And also be prepared to answer the hard questions. And you must be able to look yourself in the mirror and say, actually, if you don't know the answer, you say, hey, let me go back and do some research, you know? Thanks. So, and then your financial projections. Also, your ask and your financial projections interchangeable. So you can put the one before the other, you can put the other after the one, you know. So it's also very important to show your investors. And usually this is nice if you put it in a pie chart, or a bar chart. It's nice to see in a bar chart, because then we can ask you for your financial model at a later stage. Say, okay, fine, give us your forecast, you know, because if your chart is going slowly, it's growing, then we can say, okay, fine. We don't even need to see what's okay. You made revenue of 100,000, then you're going to make a revenue of 10 million. It's not as realistic as people think it is. So put it in a chart. You know, put it in a chart. Let's see what the trend is going forward, as opposed to you just putting random numbers in there to say, okay, I'm selling it for 10 Rand, it cost me 5 Rand, my profit is 5 Rand, you know. Put it in a chart, you know, do these numbers, but then put it in the charts, and then show it to us on your financial projections, and tell us how do you plan to actually get there, you know. So what is your plan to achieve these goals? What's your sales forecast? What maybe you put an income statement or cash flow, you know. So, you know, the DD, this is part of when we would say, okay, fine, these numbers are right, and let's go and test them and put them into our financial model and see if it actually makes sense. Does the market allow, and the likes. So this is also a very important point, guys. If you don't understand financials, find someone who is going to help you understand. But you have to, as an entrepreneur, know how you make money and how the business runs. You know, you don't have to know what the standards are, but you also need to know how much is in your bank account at the end of every day. You wake up in the morning, you check your bank account. You go to sleep at night, you check your bank account. Very, very important. And understand, okay, how do we increase the sales to get to where we need to be over the next 5 years? And then who are your current shareholders? You know, so tell us, who's the team? And you can even put that under your ask. You say, okay, no, there's one shareholder, or no, there's 2 shareholders, or there's 3 shareholders. They all own 60, 20, 20, or 30, 30, 30, whatever the case may be. But tell us, you know, we want to know these things up front, because the more, but it's short and sweet, you know, but the more we have in this deck, you know, and I'm nearing the end of of the session for the pitch deck component, where I'm going to open the floor for questions. But tell us, who are the current shareholders and who are you actually negotiating with? You know, so who are you looking to go and raise subsequent funding from? You know, so yes, then yeah. So with that, unfortunately, there are two slides. Okay, there's one slide that is missing from this presentation that I have in front of me. And this is one of the most important slides as well that you need to have is, what are your milestones? So give us a roadmap, give us a timeline, you know, and you say, okay, fine. Here's the timeline for the next 5 years. This is what we plan to achieve. If we raise this money, this is how we plan to achieve. And these are the milestones that we need to achieve to get our products to profitability or to get our product to where it needs to be. Give us that roadmap for the next 5 years. Your roadmap is very, very, very important. And that could be the second to last slide. And then in the end, guys, please, your closing slide, you know, your closing slide has to have your contact details. Please, you say thank you, you do your votes of thanks, include your contact details. Don't just put a phone number. Put phone number, email address, link to your website, you know, and say you can get hold of us on X, Y, and Z. That is one of the most important things. Guys, thank you for having me today. I want to just reiterate what the tips that we have are, or that we have. Number one, clear and concise. Number two is visual and appeal. It's very important. Jambo, mama, we are smiling in the background on my last slide. You know, so let's get your business fun. Visual and appeal, clarity and simplicity. Don't complicate it. Don't complicate it. Put all the complicated stuff. Put it in the business plan. The business plan is a longer version of this document. This document is just to say, knock knock, I'm here. Please, can we have a conversation as an investor, and be prepared, guys. Very, very important for you guys to be prepared. Thank you. I see there's a question here from Wax again. So does the GoGetta make money? Yeah, we do make money. So we charge 6% capital raising fee on successful capital raised from the entrepreneur. So if you're raising, let's call it 10 million Rand, we'll charge you 600,000 Rand on day one. And then because we need to report to the investors on a quarterly basis, we would then go one step further to say, okay, once a year, we will charge you 1% on the total amount that we've raised for you. So it will still be on 10 million Rand. Even if the business makes 100 million in revenues, we'll only charge you 1% on the 10 million, because that is what our contribution was to the business for the next 5 years. That's what we'll charge you. For as long as we hold shares in that company, we will charge you 1% per annum. So that's how we make money. And everything that we do is we do on risk. So the whole due diligence process, we don't charge the entrepreneurs for doing the due diligence. We do that on risk because we all have the same goal, and that is to get you funded. You know, so we need to create the best product to get you funded. What is the best success story you've had this far, from pitching all the way to you guys coming out of your company? Oh, that's quite an interesting question. So I would say, so we've got two. The Macadamia Farm. So the Macadamia Farm is located in KZN, and one of the biggest risks were the floods that were happening when we were entering that market. So there was a bit of unrest, and we said, okay, cool. We secured an offtake agreement for the nuts on the farm, and 99% of the nuts that we produce would go into our processing facility, which would then be sold for export to the various countries. Shortly after that, we had to pivot the farm to actually make it an organic farm, so which increases the margins. Excuse me, which will increase the margins. So the macadamia farm is doing well. And probably one of the best success stories is actually the loans business in Cape Town. So when we invested, they had just dispersed about 30 million rand, South African rands, in loans to different companies, and with a 96% recovery rate. The recovery rate went from 96 since we've been involved to 98. And within 6 months, we had deployed over 85 million rand. So the business has grown almost threefold over 6 months. So I think that is one of the best success stories. And currently we're looking to, maybe just to share some, so to shed some light, is we're looking for another farm in Zambia currently that we will be investing into for you to offset your carbon credits. So carbon credits is, but yeah, just keep your eye out on the website, have a look, and there's some exciting things coming through. But yeah, that's one of our, call it the biggest success stories, that the business has grown ahead of its projections within 6 months of us investing, and it continues to grow today. Yeah, so business is always needing money, and we're always looking to hold their hands and actually help these businesses get to where they need to. Thanks.
Wow. Thank you so much for such an insightful presentation, Thembi. So, but first, before we move on, are you Swazi?
I'm not Swazi, I'm actually Zulu.
All right.
Yeah, I'm actually very, very Zulu.
Okay, so we've gotten that out of the way. I have a couple. I mean, we could host you and no one would really suspect anything.
No,
but I'm sure that as you expand, we are Skulum.
Yeah, well, yeah, I can. All speaking.
Right. Okay, no. I have a couple of questions.
Okay,
can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Am I audible now?
Proceed.
Brilliant. Okay. So I have a couple of questions on this presentation. First, I would like to know what the standards, if you consider standards. I know you mentioned something about that, but just for clarity, I think, was it last week, I was at a particular organization and I wanted to find out how businesses could get their products sold into that company, because it's a retail store. And they said a lot of things. I love that you said there's no red tape, but could you expand on that? Because they said they need to see the business plan, they need to see all these things, and then they need to confirm whether the site where you're operating in is within policy, within the standards. And I've worked with a lot of entrepreneurs who make, for instance, their hair products from the kitchen or their backyards, so how does that go? Because we're startup companies. So do you consider that?
So not so much kitchen. Not so much kitchen. I think you need to find a site. If your kitchen is your site, then okay. But then we need approvals, because countries, the regulations are different in each country, So if you come to South Africa, we need to make sure that these products that you want to put in the retail store are user friendly. It's a product that is not going to burn my face, or it's something that's been tried and tested and it's in line with the health standards. So that is an operational thing. From an investment perspective, we would actually ask you for that certification, because remember, we are investing on the same terms as a private equity fund, or as a venture capital fund, or as a bank. So when they are asking for that information, we can't say no, we don't need it. So you have to have your house in order before we actually say, okay, fine, we're happy to list this product on our platform. So I think operationally, if you're adhering to your industry's regulations, we are happy to have a look at that business and see if we can assist in funding it. Because also remember, the plan is to get you out the kitchen and into a warehouse. So that would be in your use of funds. So when you ask for 5 million to get to your 100,000 people over 5 years, we are going to say, okay, fine. Then you need a factory. Then you need to buy machines. You need to hire 10 people. So that is built into the product. So we would then talk to you and say, okay, no, guys, we have to do this way and not that way. We have to take you out of your kitchen and go and put you into a warehouse so that you can make the right scale to get to 100,000 from the 10 million.
All right. Okay. So I have been answered, and I hope that many of us in this call have been answered, because I can see a few young people on the call who may have wondered, because, as startups, young startup company owners, we really do work from the house. So I think it was important for me to ask that. Please pardon me for having my video turned off. I suspect I will have connectivity issues if I turn it on. So for now, please stir that pretty face in my profile picture. All right. If you have any more questions, please drop in the chat. I love that we had been engaging even during the presentation. We have one last, it's not going to be very long. So you're welcome to really send in your information, any questions in the chat box. Yes, Tembiso has also sent the link in the group to the website.
So sorry, this is where you'll find the link for the presentation that I've just done now. So which is fully editable.
All right. That's great, because I have been working with business owners, young business owners who really don't know a lot about the pitch deck, but the business plan, that's what we're aiming to have completed. So it's really great that you have explained that the business plan is a short and sweet version of, the pitch deck is a sweet and short version of the business plan. Don't bore us too much, just go straight into the point, have pictures, some nice videos, graphics, bar charts, something that will not be very tedious, something concise. And another question that I did have is, what happens if we underestimated the business model? Is there some sort of collateral, or if the money cannot be paid back in 5 years, then it's a loss for everyone?
Yeah, so remember, this is equity that we're doing. So it's the risk of doing business. So if it's not paid back in 5 years and it's paid back in year 6, then so be it. It's the risk that you run of investing in startups. So which is realistic. We tell every investor, with Lalela, you might not get your money back at all. So you have to come to terms with that. But we always try to make sure that we can achieve the returns that we wanted in the business, which comes with what happens after we've given you the money. We hold your hand, so because we understand that we've invested in a company and in an entrepreneur. So we need to hold your hand to make sure that we are all aligned and we achieve the same goals at the end of the day.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Tembiso. Wax would like to switch on his mic to ask a question. Wax, are you there? Where are you, Wax? All right, whilst he... Okay, we have Prince, who also wants to turn his mic on. Could we give him the rights to? Prince?
Hello, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, my name is Prince Juve. Thank you for a nice pitch deck presentation, Steph. Really invaluable. I work in development with some agribusiness companies. Mostly it's mostly in marginalized communities. And I just wanted to know, what's your criteria for the application? What is it that you consider? Do these guys have to be, do you have a certain amount, let's say maybe on the revenue that they have to achieve? Or
You
maybe
want to
let's
be a
say,
quality controller or a food technologist?
sorry?
Okay. I think Umako was talking, but so we don't have, let me put it this way. Our only criteria really is you have to be a startup. So it's an early stage business. It can be pre-revenue or post-revenue, but anything between 1.5 million to 10 million rand is what you ask me to be. Ogunye and Ogunye will work out during the process. So if you're pre-revenue, tell us you're pre-revenue. Don't hide it. Tell us, okay, we are pre-revenue and we are looking to start this business to take it here. And we can see if we can help. So our only criteria is that we don't invest in businesses that we can't help. That's our only criteria. If we putting it plain and simple, and it's not a startup. So we're not going to put money into a business that has been around for 10 to 20 years, you know.
I hope you've been answered, Prince. Have you?
Yes, I'm answered. Thank you.
Okay, let's do Wax again. Wax, are you still with us? Okay, maybe not. He will indicate, or she will indicate, when she or he is able to. Is that you, Wax?
Yeah. Sorry about that earlier. Afternoon to everyone. My name is Wandi Zishwili is my surname. Afternoon, Mr. Thanks for a very insightful presentation. Clear. I think we understand. Mine is just to ask, what if I've been testing a market with a business concept personally, maybe collecting even funds using my personal account, because entrepreneurs, we usually run our business in our pocket. And maybe I've tested a business that is feasibly fine, and I'm looking into register it. Do you consider a business at that stage, or you're already looking at business that is full compliant to say we have everything regulatory in place, or we can also consider that prospect of business?
So again, I think your question and Prince's questions are but interlinked with one major difference, that we can't invest in a business that is in your pocket. You know, if you've tested the market, open a business account, you know, or have a separate account to say that this is the account that we are using for the business, but we will open a new account once we have started the company, you know. But it can't be your personal account in which you are opening a business. Tell us, okay, no, we are pre-revenue for now, or we've made some revenue, we've done the R&D, and now we are ready to hit the ground running. So for us, it will just be a thing of, if you've tested the market, great, show us proof. And then number two is have a separate bank account for your business. So don't mix business and pleasure, so as to say, you know, hold yourself accountable and hold yourself responsible for actually growing the business. You can put money into that account and run it, but it's always good to have a separate bank account for yourself and one for the business.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Wax. Any other questions before we close? Okay. Last one. Tembiso, do you integrate businesses? Do you facilitate networking? Seeing as the companies pitch and you see the kinds of work that they do, the industries that they're in, and then company A is in whatever industry, and then company B is in the same industry. Do you facilitate that networking? This is in view of the African Continental Free Trade Area, which, you know, is quite an interest to me and other entrepreneurs in the country. So do you facilitate that networking in the deal rooms?
No, we have to. So I think a very important part of the product that we are trying to offer is facilitating that network. So even if it means that we don't invest in your business, or you don't make it through the vetting process with the investment team, it doesn't mean that we throw the business in the bin. You know, if an opportunity arises, you in agriculture, for instance, and you're looking for a new supplier, call us. Hey guys, do you know any suppliers that we can use in South Africa? Or do you know customers, potential customers that we can sell to in South Africa? Yeah, we'll do that. So the whole premise of us having or building the GoGetta product was to actually assist startup and young entrepreneurs to achieve their goals in running their businesses successfully. So we definitely, where we can, we would definitely go ahead and assist in facilitating those networking opportunities.
Great. Okay, we are nearing the end of the presentation of the webinar. So, Mr. Zwane, words from GoGetta before we move on to our final actual closing remarks from Dr.
Look, I mean, maybe in closing, there's one thing that I would love to have every entrepreneur, young and old, understand that it's not an easy road. You have to persevere. You have to hold on. You need to have grit. You need passion. But the biggest component is you need to be confident and believe in yourself with whatever business that you are running, and just persevere. Get through the storms. There will be storms. It's not all roses, and you will get scars. So, you know, if you fall to your knees, you got to get up every single time. That's from me as a young entrepreneur myself, who's seen quite a few things over the last couple of years. But always be willing to learn from someone else. You don't know what you don't know, so open yourself up to learn. You know, you're not the only industry expert out there. There are other experts as well in the same industry who have had different problems, and talk, please. That's me. Thank you. I'm Demystifying Zwane, again, co-founder and director of GoGetta.
Thank you, Thembiso. Your message, your conclusion is actually very touching. Open yourself up to learn more, because during the presentation, I'm like, I have to know the financials. I need to do the bookkeeping, because, you know, if you're an entrepreneur, still startup level, you kind of have to be the jack of all trades at that point. So, you know, nerve-wracking, but we need to continue with this journey so that we prove that it's possible. I mean, it is. And we also do want to have those, you know, raise that 600 billion, you know, that you keep talking about. So let's continue and have our final conclusion from Dr. Are you there, Dr. Charlton?
Yes, I am right here. Thank you so much. Thanks for the great facilitation, and look, it's always refreshing whenever Stay gets to come and speak to young entrepreneurs. He communicates to me directly as well whenever he speaks, and I always enjoy his presentations. They all have a new perspective every time that he comes through and speaks. Thank you so much, Stay. It's a great privilege to be working with you. It's amazing also on the part of Pinaco Co as well to be in a strategic collaborative relationship with GoGetta. We want this to grow and want this to get better, and we want to see more and more young people actually onboarding and getting access to the much needed funding support for their startups. I think it's a very exciting time indeed for young startups in Africa. On one end, I've just been recently reflecting really on what has been going on in terms of the funding trends right across the startup ecosystem across Africa in most of the last 5-6 years. And what has been interesting is that there's been a gradual increase really in terms of availability of funding up to about 2022, where the African startup ecosystem pretty much went up to about 1.1 billion in US dollars in terms of funding that was raised. But then thereafter, we started seeing a bit of a decline. 2023. And 2024 as well. Some are saying we are in a funding winter season. So this happens quite a bit at times. It's on the high, at times it's on the low. But what this says to me, though, what says to me, colleagues, is that gone are the days when funding was just all over the show, when even the silliest of ideas would get funded. We've seen mega startups falling apart because the theory of business was not well thought through. The business model was not very well thought through. And I think this links exactly with what Stay has been saying, to say, no, look, there is need for a certain level of clarity. I always talk of a certain level of purity in your business model. Be very clear about what product you're putting on the market. Be very clear about the market dynamics. Know everything. I always talk about the 3 Ps and an S when you're talking of a successful startup. For me, it's about, when you think about your product, it's what product are we pushing out there on the market, and Stay spoke about this and emphasized this quite a lot. And then for me, the other P is process. You need to be able, if you're in agribusiness, you need to be able to understand the process. If you're in fintech, you need to understand what does it take to put this product on the market so that you start getting paid. And then the other P for me is people. You need to have the right people on board if you want to succeed in this work. Stay spoke about this as well, to say, no, look, sometimes you've got friends that you're working with, but things are just not working out. And be bold, be courageous is enough to say, guys, this is not working out. And to preserve our personal relations, it's better that we go separate ways in terms of business and stuff like that. So for me, having the right people on your team is very, very key. And the S for me is scale. So if we're going to be making money from whatever ventures that we're doing, from our startups, we need to be saying, okay, how do we onboard many more users? How do we get more clients? How do we get more consumers? How do we grow the numbers? Because when we grow the numbers, this is when we actually are able to scale and to actually start making money. There's something that I always call the Elon Musk test. And so at some point, there was a point that Tesla was really the darling of the new energy vehicles or electric vehicles for a while. I think even now they're still undisputed. But in the last 3 or so years, we've been noticing a couple of cars that have been coming in, a couple of manufacturers, even traditional, mobile communications companies like Xiaomi, for instance, are jumping on and they're making electric vehicles and stuff. And there was a comment then that Elon Musk made when he was asked about a truck electric vehicle startup up in the US called Rivian. So when Rivian came in, it was amazing. They hit serious valuations overnight, 100 million in less than 7 days. And it was all very exciting. And Elon Musk said the true test in surviving in the electric vehicle market is being able to produce enough number of vehicles to break even and to start making profit. And for me, I have this thought has consistently come to my mind to say, any startup, the true test, it may not so much be in the exciting idea at the beginning, but are we able to walk with it until we start breaking even, until we start making profit? And this will be the challenge that I'd love to leave colleagues and friends. Yeah, persistence will take us right to the top, but it's consistency that will keep us there. I just want to encourage and say that, to say, let's persist, let's keep on pushing, as they were saying. When we get there, let's be consistent, guys. Let's be consistent. Let's think of growth. Let's think of doing things better on a daily basis. This is how we'll be able to stay at the top. Otherwise, with those few remarks, for and on behalf of Pinaco Co, we are very, very, very grateful. Thank you so much, Steph, for being with us as well. And it's always a great pleasure having you. And thank you so much, Tembi. Amazing having you. Thank you so much. The discussion has been well driven. Thank you to everybody. I see some colleagues are already jumping off. I believe there'll also be a recording of this, and this will also be shared. Please just continue sharing this, and let's keep the conversations going. Let's keep the ambitions going. Thank you, guys, and thank you so much. Over back to you, Chair.
Thank you so much, Doc. You have said a mouthful. I really, it's just to say, let's keep the conversation going. Let's keep connected. Follow Pinaco Co, follow GoGetta. And I was hoping that we were going to have the schedule of the webinars sent out in the group chat, but it's fine. If you follow us on the socials, you will know when the next webinar will be. And please just mark your calendars when you get the date. We would like to have you here next month for another interesting webinar. So thank you so much, Stembi. So thank you so much, Doc. Everyone on the call, have a great, great Wednesday evening. Bye.
Thanks. Cheers, guys.
Cheers. Bye. Thank you.